The open space Greenways meeting for Tuesday, October, Tuesday, April 3rd, 2012 to order. And if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're not that fast up here.
No comments. Your notes? You're in the book.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, well, you have a copy of the brief minutes prepared for the last meeting. Are there any changes, additions, or deletions to the minutes?
The only addition I recollect from the discussion then was item number 4 under action items. As a point of discussion, I raised the point that I think that we can continue to provide a recommendation, and I mean, you do note there that we can guide requesters in preparing data for the board, but
Okay.
I think we should be prepared to help with the assessment and even make a recommendation to the board, even though
Okay.
our specific procedure was not approved by the board, doesn't mean, in the absence of the direction, doesn't mean we can't still take similar action.
Okay. Then on that basis, what I will do, we will add to that, keep the first part of it the same. However, Pat recommended that we continue to provide guidance to those people who may request additional trails.
What is the authority for that?
I believe it's within our authority. We're only advisory. We're not telling the board, but I think making a recommendation, which may include recommending that it's not the appropriate location for a trail. But I think it's part of our responsibility as the overseers of open space to hear people out and comment on whether or not it should be, a trail should be installed there, and make a recommendation to the board.
What I'm alluding to, though, is the fact that the proposed recommendation was either tabled or whatever happened to it at the board. The next step should be that we revise that policy and resubmit it to them and get direction from them, not to go out on our own independent of that. That's my take on it.
Okay. Well, I think what we're doing here is just to.
In these minutes, so that's incidental.
Yeah. Okay. I understand what you're saying, Art. Okay. All right. Any other changes to the minutes?
I just have a comment that I think it's great to have a one-page set of minutes that covers all the territory but doesn't go off into expanded directions.
Okay.
So I think it's concise and certainly clear.
Okay. Any other changes? If not, make a motion that we approve the meetings as amended to include Pat's statement in here as far as the provide guidance, because that's basically what you said.
No, I said that I think it's still within our responsibility to provide a recommendation to the board.
Okay, responsibility. You want that in the minutes? We'll put it in the minutes.
Well,
I think it's something worth discussing.
Wait a minute. Now, let me ask a question. The only thing that can go in the minutes is if that was discussed at the meeting. I wasn't here at the meeting, so I don't know what to say.
It was discussed.
It was discussed.
I'm saying that I raised that issue.
You should continue to.
That, again, and I have no problem if it is mentioned just as Cliff characterized it, that I raised the observation that I think we should continue carrying the responsibility of the recommendation.
To do it
it's
or
not
not
captured
to do
in a
it.
decision or consensus.
It was just what you
Or
said.
the discussion.
That's all.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we'll make that addition.
Thank you.
Is that going to be the procedure then? Pat takes notes and you compile them?
If anybody else wants to volunteer.
Unless somebody else wants to do the minutes.
And they're pretty
I
really
would-
concise because he couldn't read half of what I wrote down.
I would like somebody to take the minutes. It's just another thing that I have to do. Pat's been kind enough to make notes, but she doesn't prepare
I've
the
done
minutes.
the minutes the last 2 years, and I just frankly don't have time for it anymore.
And I'm secretary of 2 other organizations, so I don't know.
Well, all
Gentlemen?
we'll do what we'll
can't wait
continue
to
to
shit.
do. We'll do what we have been doing. Pat will take the notes. I'll summarize them or whatever we do. But if anybody else, and I would like to have a volunteer step forward and a volunteer to be the official minute taker, because it's just one less thing that I have to do. So
Why don't we recruit a secretary?
Ask the willingness for the replacement board member what their handwriting's like, and I'll get a note taker they are.
You outline the notes and I'll
okay, all right.
make them.
All right, that's, all right. So we'll make those changes in minutes. As far as additions and deletions, anything you want to add or delete from the current agenda?
The only question I have is the review property item under discussion item, is that actually going to be closed session?
Pam called me, and I think we can do one of two things. Anybody wants to stay after this meeting, we can talk about it in closed session, either that, or we can discuss it at the May meeting before.
I requested it tonight, but it didn't make it on the, we were going to meet at 6:30 and have a half an hour discussion, closed
Yeah,
session.
we just forgot about it. I
But-
forgot about
Okay.
it.
I'd be happy to request this for the May meeting.
Okay,
Okay, I am not going to be able to attend the May meeting,
Okay.
so,
all right.
but that's not, we still have quorum, I'm sure.
If anybody wants to stay tonight, we can talk about it tonight.
We'll just stay tonight,
After the meeting. Okay,
depending if...
anybody else have any changes to tonight's agenda?
Okay, so if we do keep that item on the agenda, that is a closed session.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I'd like to talk about, very briefly, action item number 4, I'd like to add, talk about a new sign for Albemarle Meadows. That's what we're going to call the former township
Is
dump,
this
and we'll say
As a
that.
fourth action item?
Yes. In other words, and I'm talking about the type of sign that we have throughout the township about all the open space.
Sure.
So,
I can show you pictures.
talk about it, okay? So if no objections, could we add item number 4?
Absolutely.
Would that be 4 or 5?
4.
There's only 3 now.
Are you on, you're
now.
on the minute still. Turn,
What you got?
You're on a different page.
You've got a
Oh,
different...
I've got the minutes, sorry.
Yeah,
They look the same.
yeah, you do.
You got to look at the
Format.
agenda, Pam.
I got it.
Okay, all right. Okay, having said that, from the liaisons, Lee is not here tonight to talk about what's going on in the recreation. Anything new from the Conservancy, Pat?
Nothing new. The only thing worth discussing, and I can bring this up when we go through the open space brochure, is the Conservancy has asked this committee to entertain whether it would be possible also to include the open space properties indicated in the map in the brochure. Because in so many cases, they're in immediate proximity. So it would be nice to show those sorts of properties on the brochure.
You mean the
So-
Conservancy property?
Yes, did I not say that? Sorry, the Conservancy properties.
Okay, all right. Oh, we'll go through that.
Okay, so that's really,
Okay. Okay, anything new from the Township Board?
Well, as I look back on the vote, whether we were going to approve the proposed trail policy, I don't remember why there was negativity towards this, because I thought it was an excellent, our recommendation that we have a policy in place for future requests. And I don't know why the board turned it down, but it seems to me it was a 4-3 vote, and there were 4 that didn't favor it.
It was a tie vote.
Tied, that's it.
It was a
3
tie
and
vote.
3.
oh, because someone is absent.
Yeah, somebody was left. And
And
a
is
tie,
that-
I think, my understanding,
Yeah, it fails.
if it votes a tie, it fails,
And I
right?
think there was some suggestion that you were going to return it to the board when you knew you had all 7
So,
members.
yeah,
I'd
so-
like to see it come back.
Well,
Okay.
Pam, you have to take the,
That'd be great.
You have to take the,
Take the lead
if
on
that's
that.
what you feel has to be done, go ahead. You do what you have to do.
Okay, well, the missing trustee was Eric Rinka, and I'm hoping he would vote for it.
Okay.
We aren't meeting the beginning of April or next Monday.
Easter Monday.
We're meeting on the 23rd.
Why not meeting next Monday?
I guess it's because it's during Easter week, day after
Schools
Easter.
off break and families affected.
Okay.
April 21st, you say?
Yeah.
23rd, next one.
Okay. Anything else, Pam?
That's it for now.
Okay. Property acquisitions, we purchased the 47 acres. I know of no other properties that are actively being considered at this particular time. We do have our confidential list of properties, but Dale has not informed me of any progress towards any of those other properties. I'm very pleased tonight to have Josh here with us, and Josh is going to give a presentation. I think it's about the native trees of Grosse Ile. So, Josh, welcome, and
Should we drop back into the chair?
yeah,
so that way
it's
we're not in his way during
it's
his
your show.
presentation?
Okay, why don't you just you can either talk to us or we'll go over here and sit down and listen.
Okay.
Sit right
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for inviting me tonight.
back here.
It's been a couple months, so I put together this presentation just for review and for updates. My name is Josh Shaw. I'm a scout working on my Eagle project. I plan to make a brochure for all the native trees on Grosse Ile, and in this brochure, I want to identify all the common native trees to Grosse Ile, and with those native trees, I plan to track locations or GPS locations for each tree on the Conservancy property. And I'd probably stake a pole into the ground with templates in front of each tree, and I have an example template of what the swamp white oak would look like. Details on how I'm going to do all this, I'll get to that in a little bit. And following that template, I've done a couple other trees just like that. Do you want me to present on this screen or?
It's up to you, Josh, whatever you feel
Okay.
comfortable with. If it goes on the big screen, I believe it goes out on the cable as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think because my laser pointer shows up on that better.
That's
But,
fine.
Yeah, I have the American basswood for starters. Basically, I have the scientific name following the same format of that template, Tilia americana. For this GPS location, the specific location, I will pinpoint over break or sometime this spring. It's generally native to most of Michigan, prefers like cool, moist, rich woods, preferably near water, and it can reach heights of about 60 to 80 feet. The bark is grayish-brown, shaggy, with its deep, narrow ridges, and its leaves are about heart-shaped and has coarse, sharp teeth around the edges, and they're asymmetrical at the bases. The fruit are long, nut-like capsules, long-stalked in clusters normally, and it's favored by wildlife, by rabbits and deer. It's favored by, its natural predator is deer and fire because it's most vulnerable to that, and the materials usage, it's used mainly for furniture, plywood, and a cup of its linden flower is said to soothe cold symptoms and enhance for better sleep. And then the American elm, the scientific name is Ulmus americana. GPS location, I have found the location for this already. And again, it's just like the American basswood, it's native to most of Michigan, and it prefers moist bottomlands, and it can reach about heights of 65 to 100 feet. its bark, it can be identified by its alternating corky layers, with thicker dark layers and its lighter layers next to it. The leaf is almost spade-shaped. It's abruptly pointed at an edge, and it's asymmetrical bases, meaning it kind of elongates out along the stem, while on the other side it ends abruptly. Its fruit is held in like dry oval red like capsules, and there's considered wings around the seed cases. And I have and the wildlife it's favored by a large variety of birds. The Dutch elm disease, which was very prominent in the 1920s, almost made this tree go endangered. And its wood tends to absorb shock, so it's used in making hockey sticks, boat frames, and tool handles in furniture. And I have other trees for examples, and I'll just let this run while I explain the brochure to you. I would like to pass these out right now. The brochure. This is a rough draft as of now, or if you could pass an extra copy. And all right. So on the front cover, I just have I'd like to recognize our champion tree, the downy hawthorn, because although its species regularly isn't as large, it is the largest species of its kind in Michigan, so I'd definitely like to recognize that tree. This project is also in honor of late Dr. Bruce Jones. And also, I briefly summarized each of the 20 trees that I'm doing, 20 native trees. Most of them have the GPS locations pending. I plan to pinpoint the GPS locations as spring comes on and the flowers start flooding and they're a lot more recognizable. I still have some GPS locations.
May I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
Are your GPS locations, are they associated with the stand of that kind of tree or the largest of its example that you found on accessible property? How did you identify the GPS locations?
Well, most of them are on public property,
Okay.
and it's really just the best type I could find of that tree.
Thank you.
Yeah. And for white ash, for example, most of these trees are basically dead or wiped out on this island. So I'm just probably going to find the best tree, the tree that's in the best shape.
Okay.
If you can find one.
Yeah. And on the back, I have a map of Grosse Ile, and there's basically three major places where I plan to pinpoint the trees. One being Centennial Farms, the Wildlife Sanctuary, and a property north of Horsemill. Thanks. And I plan to write for example, A, B, and C on the map, and then identify them at the bottom. And on the GPS location, I'd have next to each tree A, B, or C corresponding to where they're generally found. Also, for trees that aren't found on the major public properties, I'd probably label at the bottom D and explain that D is found at a different location and fill out D with the appropriate trees. And are there any questions about the brochure?
Josh, on the map, there's very light green. What's that going to be? You can't read it, but I assume you're going to make it darker green?
Yeah. Yes. Those are the forest areas or about where they're located. And the
wildlife conservation areas. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the public properties. Any other questions?
Josh, when you get the brochure, which is very well done, I can see, are you going to have this available at Township Hall, or are you going to mail it to the residents, or what do you plan? How do you plan to get it out to the?
I plan that maybe the township would print off copies. I haven't really looked too far into this yet. But as I will mention later, I assume each one will cost about $1 to make at most. Yeah. And speaking of which, I have my slide stopped here. What I plan to do, I have my 6-foot metal stake, which I plan to buy from stores such as Home Depot. I'll pound it about 3 feet into the ground. There's a metal hole at the top of the stake, which I plan to take 1 foot long of vinyl-coated wire. I would put the template into the vinyl-coated wire. I have a grommet through the template, a metal ring with an opening through it. And the vinyl-coated wire would go from the from a loop from the metal stake around the template, and I would use a ferrule rule to secure the wire together, and I'd crimp the ferrule together with a crimper. And I estimated approximately how much the cost of this project would be, and for the laminate, ferrule, vinyl-coated wire, crimper, metal stakes, brochures. By the way, 25. I actually have 20 native trees, so these costs are at most on the higher end, just to be sure. And the total cost, adding in tax, comes out to about $500. Really, it comes out to be about $300, but just as a buffer, about $500. What I plan to do is go out and buy the stuff myself, and then send the receipts to Ms. Frucci for reimbursement.
Okay.
And that about wraps it up. Are there any questions?
We're talking about the metal stakes. In other words, put that back on again.
Yeah.
Okay. So once you get them, get the stakes and the lanyards and you would go out and you would put them into the ground. Is that what you're planning?
Oh, I actually go out with my fellow scouts.
The scouts would put them in, right?
Yeah, I'd be supervising.
Oh, okay.
So,
and then you're going to buy them on your own, and then give them to Pam for reimbursement through the township.
Yeah.
Which I think the township should do some way, shape, or form.
Would it come out of our open space fund?
It could. It could. Very easily.
Does it include printing, or this is a separate cost?
I actually put in the cost for brochures. I estimate it to be about approximately $1 for each. So it came out to $100 right there. But we don't necessarily have to make 100 brochures all at once in the very beginning. We can see how it goes. And $1 at most to print off, I estimated.
Would the brochures be available, once you print the brochures, would the brochures be available at the Township Hall? Or how do you plan to get these brochures, once they're printed, out to the people?
Yeah, I just plan to
have them available, or
have them available at the Township Hall.
The making these brochures is insignificant.
That's right.
Once you get the groundwork done, so you get the printing done, then you can make. If you want 100 copies or 500 copies.
What I was getting at was, Art, you're absolutely right. But just if you were going to plan to mail these to people, or just have them available at the Township Hall, or what was your plan?
I most likely have plans to have them available at the Township Hall.
Okay.
And to be distributed freely.
Okay.
See, there won't be a big demand for them, so you print as many, or you make up as many as you have, and have them advertised as being available at a certain location, and if those are gone, then you make some more.
Office. Okay.
And Centennial Farm would be another place you've got to do. In the
People are more into recreation visits. They can pick it up.
As you deplete the supply, you replace it.
Let's just do it for $1 million and they only take
So yeah, they could be available to hand out or distribute at different locations too, like Centennial Farm, the Township Hall.
You might even put it online, so they can go to the website and just pull it off and then run themselves.
Yeah.
That's an excellent idea.
That's the best idea.
I could be able to put the brochures online.
Yeah. You could give them to, once you get your brochure all firmed up the way you really want it, get it to our website coordinator, Ted Fournier, and then he can put it on the township website.
Okay.
Okay, and he'll do that for you.
And then you can print them off anytime.
Okay. Yeah. Is there anything else?
Money and time.
No, when do you think, Josh, you'll be in a position where you're going to start putting the signs in the various locations?
Well, I plan to pinpoint all the locations for the trees this upcoming Easter break.
Okay.
As to going out with the scouts and purchasing these items and staking them,
Yeah.
I plan to go about late spring or maybe early summer.
Okay.
I could definitely go earlier. I could update Ms. Frucci as to when I plan to do so. But yeah, most likely late spring or early summer.
Okay, that'll be fine. So you'll coordinate that through Mrs. Frucci is when you'll be out.
Yeah.
Excellent.
If you're going to identify the trees by leaves, you won't be able to do it for this spring break because the leaves won't be out yet.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, also there were the fruit and bark features.
The bark is going to be tougher, but the leaves are going to be easier to identify by.
He'll probably, realistically, probably wait till late spring.
There you go.
Spring.
And that way he doesn't have the pressure of the school.
Yeah, EJ, that's what I was alluding to, but it's probably...
I think realistically, it'll be probably early summer or so, because that way people are out of school and they can go out and take more time to do it.
That would be my guess, because then the tree will be in its full foliage, and also the chance of making a misidentification will be eliminated.
Yeah.
Because these trees are not going to jump out at you and say, hey, I am this, you know.
Yeah, just identify whatever I can now, and then the ones I'm not sure about, I can identify it late spring or early summer.
He actually went out last summer and did this.
Yeah,
So
okay.
he's pretty familiar with some of the locations already. But he can verify it as they start blooming, and your idea is a good one.
Yep.
Is that a tree identification off the Downey Hawthorne? When I drove by the other day,
Yeah.
We just drove by it this evening.
You know-
Unfortunately, it's gone. It's such a shame.
Yeah.
it was hard to read, but at least it was there saying that's a champion tree.
You know, with this huge buffer of money I have left, it could be possible that I could possibly make another plaque, because with this brochure, people will recognize it and have it identified. Since it's a rough draft, I can add in the address of where the tree is located, and I can have that right there. So people would more likely want to go visit this tree, and if I put a new plaque into the tree, that's a lot more legible than...
Well, when the identification plaque
was the tree?
is put on the stake, and
Where
the tree
was the
is
tree?
going to
The
be
chop got cut down.
constructed in such a way so it'll be a little difficult for somebody, some non-thinking person to come in and remove it.
Hawthorne, you mean?
Or,
Yeah, the hawthorn tree.
Well,
Where about?
Well, yeah, I have looked into such vandalism or cases such as that.
yes.
And, I mean, it is possible we could put more money into fortifying it, but, I mean, I think that sets it up as more a target for kids wanting to vandalize it if it's more expensive. Lately, I haven't really seen too many vandalisms myself as a kid. And we can just try this and just see how it goes after a year or so.
Good point, yeah.
Are you going to have the ID of the Hawthorne on the stake with a
Yeah. And, you know,
plastic covering for it?
yeah, a laminate. I could even decorate that laminate a little more, make it more special, so people and recognize it on the laminate that it's a champion tree. So that way I don't have to pound a plaque into it like it had last time. So, in case that's
What
bad.
was this tree that was cut down on the hawthorn? The tree that you said you had a sticker on the tree?
The tree's there,
no, the trees,
ID
the
is...
sign,
Yeah, the
somebody
sign.
vandalized the sign.
Oh, someone did the sign?
And it's been there for years. And it was there, last time we checked it was there, and then you called me, or we talked the other night, and you said it was gone. So this evening, as we were coming down to the township, we happened to go by and look at it, and it's gone. And I said, gee, I wonder where it was, and Josh said it's in the picture. The sign's in the picture. So,
But, you know, you're always going to have that possibility.
right.
And but all you have to do is be aware that it's there, and then be prepared to go ahead and replace it. In other words, maintenance of it will have to be somewhere down the road. But this will be beyond your project, but somebody else will have to take it up. The idea is that if somebody does something to the identification that you have on the tree, then it'll have to be replaced, or otherwise they'll be lost.
Yeah.
You know, along that idea, I think it was a great idea that you gave, is in addition to the brochure, each of these templates can also be summarized into on the internet. In other words, if in case somebody vandalizes the plastic laminate in a particular location, people will still have access to the information off of the internet, so it's not completely lost. But you're right, I mean, you're never going to stop vandalism. I mean, it's an unfortunate part of society.
It just comes with the territory.
Right.
And I like the fact that in your laminated identification there, you've got leaf, bark, and the fruit.
Thank you.
Covers all the territory.
Yeah, those pictures, the bark and leaf were pictures we took myself. So.
I got one of these in my front yard.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
There's a lot of acorns every 4 years.
I don't like the acorns.
Yeah, I actually have a northern red oak in my front yard. Drops a lot of acorns. Makes your soil acidic.
Good yard, pick up 4 bushel of them.
Well, Josh, we certainly appreciate your coming.
Thank you.
Anything else? And I want to tell you that from my personal viewpoint, you have our full support on what you're doing. And if as far as this little issue of cost, that's not going to be an issue, I guarantee you. We'll give it to Pam, and Pam will take care of it. No problem.
Sounds great.
Not to worry. No, I mean that sincerely. Will be. And when you get a point that you're ready to put the signs out, let us know, and I look forward to having you and the Scouts, add to the beauty of Grove Seal.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for having me here, ladies and gentlemen.
Good job. And we're going to put the
Stay for the rest of the meeting.
drill a pilot hole down through, because if you take one of your stakes and hit a root, which is very powerful, then you won't be able to get through. Whereas if you hit a drill, with the drill, you'll know that it's got to put the hole down through that.
Yeah, that can definitely be worked into.
Okay.
Hey, Josh, what is your telephone number?
Oh, thank you.
Josh, what is your telephone number?
You want to say
My phone number is 1734 676 9213.
Okay. Got it.
And you want my email or?
I could, what is it?
It's Josh Shaw, JOSHSHAH. 246 at gmail.com.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
So yeah, you guys can keep those brochures.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks again,
for
Josh.
having me.
Thank you. Well done.
You got a fun project.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. This is the second time he's done it before. He's at a point where he's about ready to
Yeah,
have
that's really
signs
great.
made. It was wonderful. Okay. We had a wood cutting event. When was it? Around March?
310.
310. Woody, running any comments on what
How
we
many
did?
people showed up?
Yeah, not a lot of activity.
None. I agree with that. There was about how many people? 4
to 6.
4 to 6.
Yeah.
The reason is, on the other side, over between Vitelli's and the post office, you can't get in there.
Okay.
And I brought it up to the board when they make a decision. They said they don't want to make put a culvert in. Well, you got to get something in because you've got trees all over the place, and then you got a big gully in there.
On Park Lane, you mean?
No, not on Park Lane.
Oh, on the other side.
Between the Pizza House and the post office. If you go straight back, and on the left is the playground for the kids. If you go back straight through, you can't get through, and it's stupid to try to bring it all the way across from Parkway. From that side to Parkway, it's a long way.
Yeah. Darrell, any comments?
I suggest we start this early in the fall.
Okay.
Start early in the fall and get the people, activated.
I'd like to do one in the summertime, but...
Well, summertime, you got to do it in the fall, just before winter, because that's when people want to start cutting wood and storing it up.
Okay.
And when the ground's solid, too.
Yeah, right.
The fall would probably be the best. Psychologically, people are looking forward to it.
Right.
It probably might be a better...
And then we can probably prepare the moist areas with mulch, where it's really...
It'll give us time to do a little more public relations on it,
Right.
a little advertising work. Okay, well, thanks to you, Woody, and thanks, Darrell, for volunteering for that activity. Appreciate it.
Thanks for handling it, guys.
Okay, volunteers for the Dump the Junk. It's going to be the 5th and the 6th of May. Woody, do you have all the volunteers you need for that?
Yeah, right now I got myself and you and Pam and...
We said we could do 12 to 4.
On Sunday?
On Saturday.
I'm going to do it in the morning. And you said you were going to do this morning on Sunday? Or not?
Let's see. I'd rather do it either do you have, what days don't you have covered?
That day, if you want to take Saturday morning?
I would prefer that if that's
Okay, I can take Sunday morning.
Okay. All right. So I'll take Saturday morning, and who's going to take Saturday afternoon?
Jack and me.
Okay. And who's going to take Sunday morning?
Woody?
Woody. And who's going to take Sunday afternoon?
Margaret's husband.
My husband.
Margaret and Ingo. Okay. Okay.
The usual people.
Okay.
Usual suspects.
We could probably use another one for Saturday morning. I think 2 people.
Yeah, I'll work
much
it.
better.
I'll work it
Okay.
Saturday morning. You just call me, Woody, Saturday morning.
Well, she's going to be there.
Yeah. So we'll be
I
there.
got Sunday
You're
morning.
good at Sunday morning?
Now we'll put
Okay.
we're going to put the usual signs up.
Okay.
What are the hours?
9 to 4.
9 to 4. 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. The volunteers, we have one group of volunteers who work from 9 till noon, and then the other set comes in and they work from noon till 4. Okay. So the dumpsters have been ordered. We've ordered 8. There was kind of a little discussion whether 8 is enough.
Yeah, haven't we done at least 10 before?
We did 8 last fall.
But they've eliminated the bricks and the cement and no railroad ties.
Saying you can't do either bricks or cement anymore? Where are people supposed to get rid of those?
Get a black bag.
The reason for eliminating
They won't take them.
the dumpster people, waste management,
Waste management won't touch it.
too heavy.
Too heavy, they said.
They won't take. They can't pick them up.
Concerns me we're going to find it in the wild place.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah. We're going to find out.
I think. Woody, do you think it might be a good idea just to call waste management and say under what conditions would you allow it?
Okay, go ahead.
In other words, what I'm saying is that we might have to get a small dumpster, or a dumpster, maybe 2 dumpsters, and only fill it up so far.
If they'll do that, but, it's the railroad ties too that come like...
Yeah. To your point. Okay. What I'll do is I'll call Waste Management and find out what's the
better call.
Or we'll
On my run, the kids were picking up snakes and putting them in my truck. every little piece of cardboard they'd pick up, there'd be snakes under it, and they'd throw them in the truck.
Where was this?
Or here in Grosse Ile.
Where, picking up his stuff?
No. No, just going along East River and that, every little piece of cardboard they'd find.
So when the garbage stations come out, you find them.
Oh, yeah, they're
You find them
crazy.
all over the place.
What do y'all call waste? I'll work through with township. We'll call waste management, then I'll get back to you.
See if they can do a small
Okay.
load.
Maybe a small, yeah, because
Small load be piled up.
there's one thing I don't want to do. I don't want to go through an open space and then find a pile of bricks.
So I don't know what, by rights, the citizen should be responsible for disposing of that kind of stuff with the contractor or however it was generated.
Totally agree.
But the idea is that I don't know where they take it. The contractor, where the contractor takes it.
Yeah.
They're taking the open space and dump.
Well, that's what I'm alluding to. That the idea is they're the ones that have...
Okay, you got back the minutes, so I don't forget it.
To Carl,
And then
action item,
Yeah.
are we also making arrangements with the metal recycler who's been there in the past?
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
do that, but
Okay.
last time, we had somebody come up and ask, say, why do you have those people come up for? How come we can't serve with the Grosse Ile people? So we said, okay, we'll give you the noon to Sunday, and after that, they're coming in, and they're going to take it away, so we don't have to play with it.
Well, that's just it. I mean, I still think it's a service,
Well,
and
you
somebody
can-
is getting the value out of it, so...
Yeah, but you
I mean,
can
if there's a
use...
Grosse Ile person who wants to come forward and say, I do that business, I think I should have preference, we'll let them do so, but...
Yeah.
Well, we could use my truck, and we could take a donation to open space. We'll turn it in.
You can take it. You can
This
take
guy's willing to handle
We
it,
can use my
so...
junk truck.
I don't want to even touch it.
Truth be told, these people that come in and take this stuff are not the exactly wealthiest people in the world.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, they're getting the value out of it, I think it's a
Yeah, I know.
wonderful thing.
I know, so they make their living, so,
Service.
no problem.
Okay, so, well, yeah, I think we're all set. I'll make that one call, and then I'll let everybody know. Or I'll send an email, and I'll let you know. Okay. Darrell, what about your brochure?
Well, go over the brochure and see if anybody wants to make any changes on it.
Okay.
We made changes, and we may want to make some more. We're going to condense it down.
Okay.
It's in,
What we tried to do, we tried to set it up here so it's going to look like what you see here. It's going to be, it's at all professional, but
me enough room where...
I think what I'd like to do is go through the first page, and if there's anything that you want us to remove or add or change, what we'll do, once we'll get another draft of this after it's all prettied up, and then we'll bring it back and have another look at it. But as far as the wording is concerned, is there any changes in what we have said here that you want to change?
It might merit a little editing when you've got a better layout of it.
Well, look at it, and if you want to make any changes to it, send us an email.
Take it home and spend a little more time on it. I'd like to take it home and spend a little more time.
Yeah, right.
Okay, but keep in mind, what we have in mind here is to put all this stuff that you see on this put it on the first page, if we can.
In the same way that it was on the front of the trails brochure, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So essentially, you've maintained that
Now,
without the questionnaire.
Now, what we're going to do with the, as far as the description of the properties, we're going to leave it about the same because, there's no need to change it with one exception, and that is Albemarle Meadows appears
Right.
nowhere in here, and we're going to make
But
it.
you've got, I noticed that it's proposed that you round all the partial acres up to a full digit number, like 2 acres.
I round it up or round it down?
Either one. Probably if it's about half, you rounded it up, and if it's below a half, you round it down.
Yeah, instead of 24.35 acres, it's 24 acres. If it's 11 and a half, it's 12.
Okay, but the problem is if you look it up on the on that, just on record with the township, you're going to still have it at 3.5 acres.
That's
And
right.
that's fine.
So, but keep in mind what this is not a scientific document. All it is a
Right.
document that's going to be published to the residents at large.
Well, I guess I got to just ask the question, why did you round it up or round it down? People can't figure what a third of an acre is?
No, it takes less space.
Okay, I got you.
What do you think about including, not by property listing, but by color coding conservancy property, and then you already have this open space areas with the color code, and we could note conservancy properties.
Well,
It could appeal.
that'd probably cost more for cleaning it up.
Well, it would just be, we could have, now, if you look over on the right-hand side of the map, you see a little crosshatch. You see
You
that?
already have some of it in there.
Yeah. So what we could do is, I've already given this to Sohail for editing.
Who is that?
Sohail Tabak is the
Township engineer.
township engineer.
Okay.
And he has a large map. I see absolutely no problem, personally, but this is just me, with adding the conservancy in here and putting it in as a crosshatch.
Okay.
Is it what?
Crosshatch, if you look
Crosshatch.
at the original one,
Look at the right-hand side, Pam.
right, the nature area, for instance, is crosshatched.
Like, you see that area that you see right there is the area that's stewarded by the conservancy. Is that
They're hungry.
Right. This
Right,
area here.
stewarding for fish and wildlife,
Okay.
part of the
So-
refuge.
If you can give me a little a sheet of paper, and I think you already have one, which shows the conservancy property,
Right, I can get that to you.
we can put it on that map and put down here open space areas, and then we can put conservancy areas. Okay? Now, speed is not of the essence in getting this thing out. I would like to get it out, as soon as practical, but I want to do it right. So,
What are we calling that new property we just purchased?
Meadows. Albemarle
Not that one, the
Meadows.
47 acres that adds
Not the
on to
swamp.
the,
Not the swamp?
No,
No,
We've got
the
garbage road.
Coan, feather
we
Coan.
talked about
is
that.
that connected to the
Yeah,
80 acre
yeah,
one?
we've got the name
We
down.
got it in there, called Manchester Woods.
It's just an addition to Manchester.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you just added the amount of property.
Right.
that's correct.
Okay.
We ended up with one less because you had Manchester Woods, and then you had some private property, and then you had
So it's all one,
80-acre woods.
Right.
So we just combined it together, and it's all,
153.
it's around 153.
That's how you remember things.
All right.
The other thing that, I do like the inclusion all-in-one brochure. We talked about that early on, and that way you have all the information in one place. The other thing that's been tossed out is the idea of do's and don'ts with the interest of maybe helping residents who are neighbors, that it would be guidance on not encroaching, how even lawn clippings shouldn't be dumped there, a fairly brief section, but additional, care and protection of these lands, and like I said, a simple do's and don'ts paragraph.
Okay, on the first page,
I don't think it should go on the first page. I think
all right.
there should be home report somewhere in here.
Here, if you were going to do, if you turn the page where it says the nature guide, our plan there was just to have a picture, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to have the nature guide with the picture, nothing there, and that's all, and then followed by
The trail map.
the trails.
Okay.
If we're going to put something in there, you could put it right in there.
yeah, brief message.
Either here, or I don't know what things you're going to look at from a layout standpoint. Were you
Yeah.
hoping this was only here, or did you think it was going to include the overlay to here? Because if it was going to include the second page, this area might be an appropriate place for it, too.
Okay, when you look at the current open space guide, not the trail guide, you've got this in a double page, and then you turn the last page, and then you've got that.
And that's what I'm looking at, is this
That's-
part.
that's right.
And that's what I'm saying, that this might be a home for it, too. So,
Yeah, either or.
Okay.
There.
okay.
So, I guess what I'm hearing is that Darrell and I are, you want some time to think about it a little bit, and then get back to us? Okay?
But are you going to give us a complete one so we can look it over after you print it all up, before you run it?
Mark up a draft?
Yes,
Just like
absolutely.
just like Joshua showed us tonight.
Okay.
Something like that would be nice.
I think we're going to have, we say Whipple?
Whipple
Whipple's,
can do a proof.
well, Whipple can do the proof for us, and the reason Whipple is selected, because they did all this work on the previous drafts. They've got the templates, they've got the
Right.
computer,
Everything.
so they're all set.
They can just make their changes.
That's right.
Just
So-
a quick glance here, Voigt is spelled with an H and it's not.
Wait?
V-O-I-G,
Okay.
V-O-I-T-T.
Yeah, you can-
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
make,
that's why we need the opportunity for
yeah, that's
editing.
why you,
yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Darrell, I did go to the post office.
Did you?
Yeah. And
Just find out where they put the stamps?
I got good news on that point. They've got a new program now.
New program.
Okay. If we make this up into about a 4 or 5 page book, we can have this, they call it bulk mailing for a confined area, for 14 cents a copy.
Wow.
This will be sent
deal.
to every single resident of Rose Hill,
Fantastic.
and we don't need a permit.
Well, that's
The word
interesting.
permit, you don't need this on the back. You don't have to fold it. It'll be just like this,
Okay.
and it'll go directly to the
What
resident.
channels
What
goes out
They
flat.
tape it before they ship it?
Yeah. We're going to design it so that we do not have to have another get-together with people to either lick or stick or paste or do anything like that. In other words, once they get it, when it leaves the printer, all we have to do is pick it up, take it to the post office, and I think there's about 4,600 people, so it'll be about 4,600 copies, and send it out to, and it'll be sent out to every single resident on Grosse Hill.
And then we'll have a recall and offer them $1 a copy in a year for everybody that's got one. Because most of them are going to go in the round file.
Well, you know, Art, no matter what you do,
I know.
you're always going to have
I
some.
know that. Not some, you're going to have a lot. Because most people are not interested in it, but there are some people that are.
Maybe the reason for doing it that way, for spending the money, is so that we ensure that we get it out to everybody. And we don't, because a lot of people never come to the township hall,
I understand,
okay?
I know.
So let's try this and see if it works.
So what you don't know is you don't know if it's going to work. Because I know what would happen.
Now, we're going to make extra copies, and we'll have some here at the township as well.
But at least they'll get out to everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They have an opportunity
They'll
to
say-
see what the program
They'll
is.
say, what in the world is this?
Doesn't look like
Yeah.
junk mail.
And they may,
And then they set it aside.
they may set it aside. They say, oh, I didn't know we had one of these.
I like
So-
the idea.
So take a look at it. Send your remarks back to Darrell or myself or both of us, because Darrell and I are going to go through and we'll make some changes, and then we'll travel down to Whipple, have them make up a draft, have another look at it, and then we'll run with it. And Pat, if you could let me know where the Conservancy properties are.
And also could give you a draft do's and don'ts, some draft language for those rules.
And then we can stick them in the appropriate spot, either here or down to the bottom here. Okay?
Sounds great, thank you.
Okay.
Would it be useful to put in a revised questionnaire, how you'd like to use our open space?
I don't think so.
As long as it's going out to every household.
Yeah, but how is the questionnaire going to get back to us?
How about before we do the distribution, we raise it again and talk about it?
Okay. Myself, all I want, my feeling right now, but your point, we can talk about it. Is that I just want to get it out and let everybody know what we got. You know?
Right.
That's fine.
Okay, wonderful.
Carol, thank you for
Yeah, thank you both, guys.
Now-
So should we use this back page to talk about your trail?
Do we want to talk about the pictures first, or?
however you want to handle it.
Okay, take a look. I only made one copy of 3 pictures of
Oh, looks fun.
Albemarle Meadows. Pick one that we can put in there.
I'm going to do that stuff. Have you been back there lately?
We walked it last fall.
I mean, this year. I've been through there, so.
Yeah, that was soft.
Green it up.
Is it going to be included in the brochure?
Right.
Yes.
Right, one of those pictures. I think the one with the water would be the best one that I checked. I don't know. See the water in the background?
And I see the boats in the background.
Yeah, that's...
That's the water.
So that's kind of scrubby. Because there-
It's just
is
not,
there an
it's just
angle?
not kind of grubby, it is very grubby.
Yes.
Scrubby, I said. You know,
The point,
undergrowth, yeah.
Oh,
Point
it's
is-
more than that.
I just wonder how solid that marsh is right there.
yeah, the point is,
It's all filled up
The area has
with
been
grass and
transferred.
all kinds of stuff. in it.
but it was transferred to us.
I know.
You know, we didn't go out and get it. They
I
said,
know.
Is this all
Here it is.
Friday?
I know the whole story on it.
I know that.
That's that growth, that weed that
We
took
gotta do
over on
something
our
with it,
island.
you know.
You
This is
see
what
it
we're
in
trying to do.
ditches.
It's the
and
big
everything.
feathery head on it.
Yes,
It's not
yeah,
cactus.
yes.
It is cactus. That's too bad.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
it is.
The Conservancy's been working on that.
Yeah.
Gas and fire.
So
I just didn't know if there was a place that there was any cattails, something like that. It's
You
a
know,
small.
all the cattails are gone just about.
Well, there's stands of them. You'd be
there's a
pleasantly
few.
surprised.
You'll have to show
Maybe
me.
we want to wait till a little later in spring and see if we can get another shot. I mean, if this isn't going out immediately, maybe things will green up a little bit better, and there'll be. So,
All right, so
I mean, I appreciate you doing it. It's just that
when we,
it's not the most aesthetically pleasing portion of
When
the
I-
open space that we have.
When I went back there last year, you know, when the township first proposed that we were going to buy this
Right.
with open space funds.
We didn't buy that, did we?
Yeah, we did.
The forced purchase,
We didn't.
the settlement,
it says,
transfer.
It was a transfer,
what
but
you're
we
going to
paid.
get.
We paid bucks that we used to be an old dump.
Do you want to pay 1.6 or do you want to pay 1.6?
But anyway,
Right.
what happened is
Sorry.
I don't remember seeing any cattails there. You know, but there is a lot of growth there.
So do you want to wait till May or something and those in?
Well, why don't we see how progress is going in the brochure, and if we can wait to it without totally
See if
slowing
it's
ourselves down,
Yeah.
it might be, you know, what it might have is, I know in mid-May now, it used to be later May, but seasons are changing a little, if there's a stand of phlox, that can be really pretty, and that might be something that would be,
Right.
if there's any tucked in there, that maybe just a shot of something like that would illustrate it, so, I don't know if it has it.
Right. I would propose a trail right along the Albemarle Boat Club there, and if that's solid ground, you would have to test it first, you know, and then go around.
The only reason for putting some sort of trail in there is not only for aesthetic reasons, but for, you know, if the people are going to walk in there, you don't know what in the world is 3 inches below that ground. Ask Pam, she probably knows better than anybody else.
But we're gonna
Because she used to dump back there, right, when you were
Yeah,
kids?
but we're gonna
But you need a trail back there to provide some safety, in my
Right.
mind.
Yeah, I was thinking of putting a mulch about a foot deep, you know, for the trail.
Yeah, things
And
can
the-
still
and the,
work up out of the earth, is the
No,
thing,
no, it
but,
won't.
okay.
They said there's nothing back there. I think there is, though.
But in that area, I don't think there's anything. And then
Well, if you stay on the
perimeter.
periphery, probably not.
I think
We want to stay on the
I
perimeter.
think that the most logical thing to do instead of putting mulch out there would be to get access to some fill dirt
Well,
and make a path out.
Touch
Phil-
the bed.
Phil-
Bury this glass and stuff that's down there, put
yeah,
much fill dirt
filter
on top.
turns to mud.
What? No, then on top of the mud, you put the lawn.
But
If I see that
Come
one-
over to my yard, I'll show you what it forms. You know, Woody's been over to my house.
What the mulch forms?
Yeah,
The mulch dries up, though.
It what?
It rots up.
And it makes fill dirt.
Well, but
It turns to dirt.
this much mulch will make about this much dirt. You know, it's when it decomposes to the point where it's all rotted up.
Right.
You just gotta put more on top of it.
Yeah, you just put more on top of it, and mulch doesn't cost us anything.
Right.
All right, well, let's,
So we're still deciding even where it's going to go,
Yeah,
and so
right.
it's a work in
So-
progress.
the thing of it is, if we put the reason for adding a trail for the Albemarle Meadows is that we plan to put a trail in there of some time. It may not be this exact location that we have outlined here,
Right.
but it all depends on what.
Trail's still going to be obvious.
Yeah, it depends on the ground and
Right.
everything.
Oh, you are going to want a directional
Right.
key, too.
So to summarize, each of you take a look at it. You want to make some changes, let us know. Pat, get me the Conservancy information so that I can make sure I put it on the map. And we'll put, what you want us to do is to we'll put cross hatches, and down below we'll put the dark green, which will be open space, and the cross hatch will be Conservancy property.
Right.
Okay? All right.
But it may, if you haven't looked at it now, before the grass gets any taller, maybe now is the time for you to take a trip through it, because now you'll see things like glass and that kind of stuff that you have to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll walk it.
When did we do that last fall?
Was it October?
October, I think it was.
Yeah.
But to put your point, it's probably a good time to do it now.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, because
And-
before the grass gets through.
And see what the ground is like.
Okay, all right. Okay. So, are we through talking about the brochure? We know what we're going to do? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had another suggestion for your trail. I've been talking to Garrett Field here at the airport, and there's this berm right by the entrance to Grove Road that's got excavation
Right.
material on it. And he's seriously considering removing that excavation material, because nothing grows on it, putting a nice thick layer of topsoil and planting it so it's got something green on it. And I'm thinking if we can coordinate
Yeah.
taking that excavation soil and taking it down to Albemarle,
We could use that.
Whereabouts is this now?
as you come off of Meridian and turn onto Grove Road,
Left?
turn to your right, coming into the Township Hall, there's a berm, and it grows weeds nicely, but it's ugly. And the airport has $1,000 in improvement beautification funds, and Derek sounds like he's very serious about making it a more beautiful entrance by removing what was dumped there.
Yeah, we could use that. We could use that.
And,
I think they would-
You'd have to come in with a bulldozer and a front-end loader.
Yeah, they could load it and
Okay.
bring it down, and I could show them where to dump it.
yeah. Okay, that's what I'm getting at.
Because we need a ramp to go in.
Yeah, we'd have to, before that is done, we should have a firm plan in our mind as to where that,
Right.
Yeah, where you going to dump it down there, because
Yeah.
that's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, put it in
you
the
gotta
ditch.
have it, you gotta have it. pretty-
I've got a good
Put it in
idea.
a ditch going to it, can you?
We'll go over it and see.
Okay, well, Darrell, why don't you do this, why don't you just,
I don't know. You got to
Do we have to get approval from all this we're doing from the township before you step over there?
Yeah, we'll get it approved.
Well, if you want to make an access, you'll have to put a culvert in there.
And he won't do culverts.
Who won't?
Now, the drain is put through there. It's
You
covered up. It's got a
don't
drain.
need a culvert for access. You can go straight in.
Yeah, you can go straight in. We just need
No,
a...
he won't do any culverts.
No, it's not going to be a culvert.
Right.
It's going to be a straight in.
No blue culverts.
Yeah.
But when I went in there, I didn't go in over a culvert. I just walked over. I had to step over an
Right.
open ditch.
Yeah, you won't go over a culvert or anything. It'll just be a straight in shot. You know, straight down shot.
What do you do with the ditch?
That's solid ground, you know.
What do you do with the ditch?
There's not going to be a ditch there.
Do we know water running?
Well, I think the first thing first
No,
is
'cause,
get
had
a
to walk
plan
it.
firmed up
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, because
That's
the yacht club, right next to the yacht club, it's solid ground, and we're going in right next to it
Okay.
at an angle,
Well, I think,
I mean,
to that,
because they filled in that area.
let's get that trail firmed up, the plan
Okay.
is what we're going
Okay.
to do, including, and Pam, who's ever going to, I don't know when Derek is going to remove that berm.
Yeah, we'll
Make
coordinate
sure
that.
that you find out so that Darrell knows ahead of time. I mean,
Yeah, I'm in touch with Derek, so
okay.
I'll,
Okay.
That's fine.
Well,
Okay.
he knows because we've been talking about it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I'll,
Anything else that we might talk about as far as that particular issue is concerned?
we're good.
Okay. What is your feeling about putting the sign in, at least identifying that piece of property down there as open space? Normally, when you go throughout town, you know what signs I'm talking about.
Right there, yeah.
The wooden,
like
are you
this.
talking about the wooden sign?
Like this
Yeah,
right here.
right. Okay, if that's the sign, then the
That one.
other thing doesn't happen. Then what do we call it, the Barn Trail or the Albemarle Meadows, you want to use that sign, you don't use that sign.
Well, I'm not saying we're going to make a new sign and put it down there.
Instead of that, you use the Albemarle Meadows as its place?
No. When you talk about the open space signs that are throughout the island are just...
Going to be that.
They're just
they
date
look-
and acreage.
They look exactly like
Okay,
this, and they
right.
say how many acres.
And what is this Albemarle Meadows
12
got?
acres. It will not be, you won't put a name on it, you just put 12 acres, gross yield, open
I
space.
understand that.
2011.
What is this Albemarle Meadows? Is this the trail sign?
Yeah, that's what we call it.
That's simply the sign, that's simply what we're going to call that area.
The junk would be
Instead of
better.
calling it the township dump, we call it Albemarle Meadows.
But it's the same way that you've got Manchester Woods and you've got, you know,
Exactly.
Marion Park, et cetera, et cetera. It's
These
just
signs-
kind of an internal reference.
These signs cost about $1,650
Which ones?
put in.
The wooden one?
No, the composites, the ones that last a long time.
You're talking about this one.
Yes. Those signs, the signs we put up when we bought the property, the Wendell Court, a number of years ago, and Cornapple Woods. Yes.
Those signs that you have them professionally made by somebody like Townsend, they're not inexpensive. But, you know, if you're going to buy a sign and expect it to last, you got to put the bucks
Yeah,
up for it.
so it'll cost, that's $1,600, that's fabricated, made, and installed. And that's what these signs cost.
So that's two signs we got to make up?
One. Why two?
Okay, Manchester?
No, we already got that one.
We're just going to combine that one sign
Yeah,
with
we're
two
combining
signs. Okay.
Although the acreage is wrong now, but...
All right, no big deal.
Yeah, that could be changed.
They can take a chisel or something and change
Can we do it?
Put something over it, you know,
Now,
just
wait a
kind
minute.
of-
Okay.
There are two signs over here. One says 80 Acres Woods, the other say Manchester Woods.
Okay,
Now,
so...
are you saying, take one of those, take both those signs, make one, call it Manchester Woods, 153 acres, take the other sign, change it to 12 acres, and put that one down at the other end,
Maybe we could recycle it.
Good idea.
okay?
If you can change year as well as acreage.
That's a good idea. Sure.
They may be able to,
Let's find out.
The only reason to consider otherwise is if the signage is also where it's typically accessed, you know, entry points or...
It's usually right in the, just right where all the other...
Right. There may be a reason for that 153-acre chunk to have signs at two different points on it and to have the Albemarle correctly labeled as open space. I support the idea of recycling, but this is a big enough piece that it might be worthwhile having signs on two different parts of it.
Well, okay, let's take a look at it. Right now, you got two
Let's.
signs down there,
Just
okay?
leave it.
Okay, the other proposals, I'll find out, first of all,
Let's
let me
look at
find
it
out
again.
if what we're proposing can be done.
Right.
Can they be recycled?
But I think the new property should have a sign. I think it should be labeled, designated,
Okay.
especially if we're doing a trail there, and that way people know that they're not going on private property, they're going on open space property.
Right.
Okay, now, the world isn't coming to an end if we don't get the sign installed in the next week.
No, absolutely not.
No,
No,
this
it's
is
not.
So,
future.
what I'll do is I'll find out if that can be done, and then we'll think about it.
We got a sign that needs to be replaced, it's, that the contractor destroyed, that it's never been put up. This is on that little piece of property that, it's an open space.
replace?
Yeah, over
I thought that was-
Laurie and Meridian.
That was done, wasn't it? It was not done.
No, just...
The contractor destroyed it, we make him pay for the replacement?
Well, I can't answer that. They were in litigation with the sewer system.
Oh, those guys, that contractor, never mind.
Okay. All right. Let me find out if that can be done, and then if it can be done, what will be the cost, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, so that little dinky piece of property there, it's about a third of an acre or something.
Right,
Why-
it's nothing.
Why bother with it, Art? What do you think?
Well, if you're going to have all the open space properties marked, you should have a sign. I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't hurt me to have it one way or the other, but I mean...
I think we
Yeah.
get signs cheaper than that, can't we? I know it looks great, but for $1,600.
I'm telling you, what's it cost, Woody?
Well, you can save about half if you put it in yourself, if you install it yourself.
What Gary told me, not Gary, but what Tony Gray told me, he said, you make one out of wood, it runs around $1,200 to $1,300, and it doesn't
Not
last.
enough of a difference.
No, I'm talking about you get the sign itself, you get it made professionally by somebody like Townsend. I don't know who makes these signs for us, but somebody like that. But they'll charge you about half the price if you install it. But they make it and then you install it.
Well, you install it is the township, and there's costs associated with that, too, so...
Well, no, if you install it, I mean, the entryway signs on both sides, it was installed by Kiwanis, okay?
Okay.
We put the posts in, and there are 6 posts involved in putting those entryway signs in. Now, the ones that are on open space properties, there's only 2 posts. You can see them, there are only 2. So you just have to buy 2 posts, and you...
What'd you do to drill over to, something behind of a tractor?
What's that?
To drill a hole?
No,
Oh,
yeah, you can go down 42, you can go down 42 inches, and I can sink a hole 42 inches in less than 20 minutes.
no. Great. We'll watch.
Yeah, you can run an auger, too.
Well, never mind, a tractor.
42 inches is nothing, because it doesn't have to go in the precise spot. You know, if you hit a wood or something, if you can't chisel it off by just with a spud to cut it, then you move it over a little bit and get away from the roof.
Let me do this. Let me find out,
Two prices,
the 2 prices.
one for the sign and one to install it.
Okay.
And before when we had these signs put in, it was double the cost for them to install it.
Okay.
So we
Now,
saved half the cost.
What we'll do is we'll have to, by rights, we should revise the signage on the Manchester Woods to 80 acres. We should take both those signs and either make one or make 2 and call it Manchester Woods, 153 acres.
I propose putting the sign right in the middle,
Okay.
That'd be good, so no one can see it.
I don't...
right in the middle of the whole acreage.
Yeah, right.
You got to put it out front.
You've got to make it so people realize...
Yeah.
When
Out
they
front.
call it the drive-bys, when the people drive by, they look at it, and they say,
Explain to me what you mean by in the middle.
In the middle of the acreage,
No, I don't
on the
think
road.
Well,
Midway of
you
the
put-
acreage,
we're not talking about putting it
parallel to the
back
road.
yet.
Okay,
Yeah, next to the road.
okay.
as long as the property is contiguous.
Really want to know how many acres are in there.
Yeah.
Tramp all the way.
Not in the middle of the woods, but
Okay, can we get back on it, Jeff?
Okay, let's go.
Let's get the next one.
So I'll
Yeah,
find out.
sorry.
I'll find out, okay.
Pain in the ass?
Now, we do have a vacancy on the committee.
Yes.
There is one person who is, another person has submitted an application.
2 applications total?
I think we have one.
Oh, okay.
One new one.
Have we publicized?
No,
Right.
That's the first step, I think, is to publicize it. How do we do that? In the camera, usually? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll get
And on the website as well, I believe.
Carol can I'll take care of it for you.
Okay, I'll take care of.
Who's the one application?
I don't know. I'll have to
I know
go
that's
back and look. I'll have to look and see.
May I ask that, I'm sorry, I cannot be at the May 1st meeting. May I ask that the interview session be a different date than that May 1st? If it's something that we can, without inconveniencing everybody terribly, have it a different date? Because I'd like to participate in the interview.
Yeah.
Either that or wait until June, but maybe that's too late.
Because I may be gone too.
May 1st?
May?
Meeting,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Can we plan for the June meeting?
Could we make it May 8th?
That's,
What's May 8th?
May
May
8th
8th
is
is the
May 8th is
following
a school
Tuesday.
board work session.
Yeah. After-
May 15th wouldn't be bad, but I don't know if there's other committee meetings here that third Tuesday,
We
you
don't
know?
have to meet here.
Okay.
We can meet downstairs. It's
Okay.
it's going to be in closed session anyway.
How about the 15th? 15th or 16th of May?
15th of May is a Tuesday. I mean, that would be third Tuesday, if that's okay.
Just have to post it.
May.
Everything's going on next Thursday.
At what time? 7
Our
o'clock?
usual, 7 p.m.?
Okay.
And would that be the whole meeting, or would that just be interviews?
Interview.
That would be the interview.
Okay,
May
May
15th?
15th.
Okay.
Interview. And in the meantime, I'll have Carol put out a notice in the camera, and on the website, it will be interviewing candidates.
I got a pen.
Okay.
So they
I got a
have to,
pen in my van, man.
but they have to submit an application to the township hall in order to be even considered for an interview.
Right.
Okay.
How about the people who interviewed, tried to do it before, they have to resubmit or what?
They do.
Okay.
They do, or once they're on file, they stay on file. What's the
I don't know
ruling
where
on
the forms
that,
say.
Oh, wait a minute.
Not real sure.
If, in other words, let me put it this, if a person puts in an application for a position on a commission or a committee, a volunteer, and let's say for sake of argument, they're not chosen or other people are chosen, is that,
I wonder if Carol Canope gives them a call and say, do you still want to be considered again?
let me find out from Carol what the ruling is.
She knows the ropes.
Sure. I just don't think you can assume that they're automatically in the same place they were 2 years ago.
All right.
So 7 p.m., Tuesday the 15th. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right, quickly, if we can, let's go around the table. Do there any other comments? Carol?
I'm good.
Okay. Woody?
Okay, we got that thing for $500, right? What they're gonna do for us?
Oh, yeah.
And that would be following the finger
100 feet
of,
from the airport property west. There's a house over there, and there's a driveway, and then there's a lot of junk. And we had T&D come in and give us a price, and going to clean a lot of it up.
It's on open
Wonderful.
space.
okay.
Pam?
Yeah, I've got a proposal here that now that we've got this nice new piece of property that connects East River with Meridian, that maybe this is a possible future trail, so people going from the bike trail
Well,
can
that's-
connect with
yeah.
East River. So it's
I
just
love that idea.
a future possibility.
Yeah. Art?
Nothing to add.
Pat?
I got nothing.
If it's a future, can you bring it up to the township board so we don't think it's coming and it never's there, never will be there?
That'd be a good idea, Pam.
That'd be a good idea, Pam.
What am I doing?
You're going to bring up to the township board that we can put a trail in from Meridian to East River Road on the new property we just bought.
Well, there's a trail there now.
Well,
But it doesn't...
you can walk it. I'll pass.
Can you get
Well-
through without fighting your way through?
Well, we open up the existing trail.
Well, you can open it up.
Yeah, let's just open it up.
Well, you're still gonna have to get
We
the
need
okay.
to
You
get
can't
on that
just,
property and walk it, maybe in later April.
Sure.
That's my
Plan to do
property.
that.
I mean, that's not, but that's, I'm the...
that's your property?
Yeah, I'm
But you are.
For oversight
I'm the
purposes.
overseer of that property.
Okay, we'll take a look at that trail.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now,
You still gotta go through them.
Did you have anything?
No,
there?
the trail's existing.
How was your, how was the
Where you wanna put down dirt to do or whatever.
cleanup effort?
Clean up trail.
How was the cleanup effort, guys?
Cleanup went very well. We had, like I said, we had 165 volunteers, and we,
You got it from 9:30 to 11, was it, 11:30, 9:30 to 12?
no, well, the actual rendezvous session started at 9 o'clock, and then all people were out of their area with their assignments by 9:30, and then they returned for a piece of lunch at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
And I received a telephone call today from somebody that saw the people picking up on Grow Road by the alpaca place,
Uh-huh.
and she was very anxious to be a part of the cleanup whenever it's going to happen again. They just moved to the island in November,
Wonderful.
and but she saw the people picking up trash on Grow Road, and she thought it was a great thing. She wanted to know when the next one was going to be. And I said, well, the next one won't be until a year from now. And she said, oh, she was kind of disappointed, but she said, put me on the list and I'll definitely be there. But she has an alpaca over at the ranch, and she invited me to come down there. They're going to have 4 babies here in the next few months.
Wonderful.
Did you do Meridian Road? Because as I drove down here, it just seems like there was a lot of litter along with Meridian.
Meridian, the whole, all main streets were covered.
Yeah, I wonder, must have been the next day that somebody dumped
Well,
it.
things will happen
Yeah.
within minutes after after it's been
Where's
picked
that place you talked about earlier, up on the north end?
up. I can't give you the exact location, but I would rather not say it at this time.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it later.
Okay. All right.
Got nothing?
Well, just a couple things.
We're on the air.
As far as we're doing
I
this piece
understood
of
that.
property, Pam, when do we decide to do that? You want to do it next month as a
What?
regular meeting
Do what?
in a closed
Well,
session?
since
property
we're not,
review?
Pat will be
Well,
there.
she won't be there.
I don't think, and neither were Daryl possibly, so.
All right, what's
Change
wrong?
the date.
No, wait a minute. We're going to plan to interview people on the 15th.
Right.
Oh, I
It's gonna
thought
be a
that was going to be a
closed
regular
session.
meeting.
No.
No, we're just going to interview people. Okay? Or else, do you want to make...
You could do the closed session property review
And then
following
have
the interview.
Yes.
candidate
That's what I'm
interviews.
thinking.
How does that sound?
just have the regular meeting then?
Or would it be better to have the regular meeting? What's your pleasure?
Well, some of you people won't be here on the first Tuesday, so you'll be here on the
Let's make it
15th.
Yes.
So why don't we just transfer the meeting from the 1st to the 15th, since two
Okay,
people
we'll
won't
have
be
a
here.
condensed agenda. We'll be interviewing candidates. We'll have,
Open space after the meeting.
after the meeting, and then after the interview, and then we'll have a closed session, talk about the property.
Sounds great.
And that'll be on the 15th of May.
So we're not talking about the property today.
For both the interview of the candidates as well as the
Closed session property review.
So meet
Will be
at,
also in closed session.
Yes,
So bring a lunch.
so meet at 7
Meet at 7.
or 6:30?
let's meet,
Six.
let's, I would maybe meet at 6:30. We can have our,
How many people, what do you know? It's you
Yeah, we
15
don't know how
minutes.
many,
15 minutes per person, so
Yeah, but
now
how
we're
many
having the
people
other one, a
can be
regular
there?
meeting
We
at
say
7.
TBD depending on how many candidates.
Yeah, right.
fine, okay. It'll be on the 15th, and once I get the number of candidates, I'll send you each an email and say what time would you prefer to have it. Okay? And then we'll do it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay?
you adjourned?
Make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
You make the motion.
I'll second it.
I'll make the motion to give respect to you.
Good luck with that.
Okay. Ready?